Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Today we will be discussing a few points from Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf is the 18th surah of the Quran. There are many ahadiths regarding the virtue of Surah Al-Kahf. Few of them are: whoever recites Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, it will illuminate him with light from one Friday to the next. The other one is: whoever memorizes 10 ayat from the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf will be protected from the Dajjal. Now, who is Dajjal and why do we need protection from him? Dajjal. Dajjal is a person who will appear before the day of judgment with 4 trials. He is a test for us. He will ask people to worship him and not Allah. This will be the trial of faith. He will be given powers and tempt people with wealth. This is the trial of wealth. He will give some unbelievable knowledge to people so that they turn towards him. This will be the trial of knowledge. He will control huge parts of the earth, which is the trial of power. Allah has explained the solution to these trials in Surah Al-Kahf. There are 4 stories we will be discussing all one by one and ponder over its lessons. The people of the cave, Ashab-e-Kahf. This is a story of few young men who migrated or just ran away from their town because the king was a disbeliever and it was not easy for them to practice deen. The king used to kill the believers. So these young men prayed and took shelter in a cave. They were asleep in a cave for 300 years. That is 300 solar years, which is equivalent to 309 lunar years. They were protected by Allah from sunlight and had favorable conditions during their sleep. They were made to turn their sides. The sunlight didn't harm them. Their dog slept at the entrance of the cave. Then, after 300 years, they woke up as though they slept just for a day or less than that. Then they were able to practice their deen from then onwards, because the disbeliever king was no more, and the king at that time was a believer. This was the trial of faith. So, what do we learn from this story? That we should have trust and faith in Allah. How do we overcome the trial of faith? By having complete faith in Allah, belief in Allah. Now we have the story of the owner of 2 gardens. This is a story of a man whom Allah had blessed with 2 beautiful gardens. He was very proud of his garden and did not thank Allah for the blessings. He even dared to doubt Allah regarding the afterlife. When his friend said, "Don't you believe that you were created from dust?" he was quite arrogant and he didn't believe in the afterlife too. Later, his gardens were destroyed. He regretted, but it was too late, and his regret didn't benefit him. This was the trial of wealth. What lessons do we learn from this story? Yeah. We should never be arrogant or proud. We should always thank Allah. And how do we overcome this trial of wealth? By being humble. No matter how wealthy we are, we should remember that all our wealth is from Allah. We should be humble and be grateful to Allah. Be thankful to Allah. Next we have the story of Musa alayhi salam and Khidr alayhi salam. Allah revealed to Musa alayhi salam that there's someone who knows more than Musa alayhi salam about certain things. That was Khidr alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam traveled looking for Khidr alayhi salam and learned how divine wisdom can sometimes be hidden in matters which we think as bad. When Musa alayhi salam met Khidr alayhi salam, he accompanied Khidr alayhi salam on his journey. Khidr alayhi salam told Musa alayhi salam to be patient with him and not to question him for his actions. Musa alayhi salam agreed and they both moved on to the journey. Then on the way, Khidr alayhi salam damaged a poor man's boat. Musa alayhi salam was impatient and asked why he did so. Khidr alayhi salam warned him, "I told you not to ask me questions." Then Khidr alayhi salam later killed a young boy. Again, Musa alayhi salam was impatient and asked why did he do so. Again, Khidr alayhi salam warned him that, "I told you to be patient, don't ask questions." Then Khidr alayhi salam repaired a broken wall without charging any fee. That too in the city where the people didn't welcome them. They didn't offer them food, they didn't help them. Musa alayhi salam was impatient again. And now Khidr alayhi salam explained the reasons behind all his actions. Khidr alayhi salam damaged the boat because a king was taking away all the boats of poor people. And because this boat was damaged, the king would not take it. It would be of no use to the king, so he would leave it. So this was the way how he saved the only source of income of those poor people. Then Khidr alayhi salam explained why he killed the boy. He killed the boy as he was a disobedient person and an evil person. Allah had instructed Khidr alayhi salam to do so, so he did it. Then Khidr alayhi salam said that he repaired the wall to safeguard the treasure beneath it, which belonged to a pious man who was dead, and his children, who were orphans, were young. The treasure would be protected under the wall till these children need it. This was the trial of knowledge. What lessons do we learn from this? We should be patient to gain knowledge. We should be very patient to gain knowledge. And we should always be humble. Even if we have knowledge, there are people who will have more knowledge than us. Allah is the most knowledgeable of all. We should always have the will to gain knowledge from whatever source we can gain beneficial knowledge. We should try and gain it. This was the trial of knowledge. Now, this story is about Dhul Qarnain. Dhul Qarnain was a just and righteous king. He was given knowledge and power. He traveled the world helping people and spreading all that's good. he was able to overcome the problem of Yajuj Majuj. Yajuj Majuj were a tribe of people who were very mischievous and were troubling others. So, Zulkarnain built a massive wall with the help of the people living there. He couldn't understand the language of those people, but still he managed to build a wall, a very strong wall with iron and copper. And the problem of Yajuj Majuj was solved. They were trapped behind the wall and they won't be let out until the day of judgment, the Qiyamah. This was the trial of power. What lessons do we learn from this story? That we should be sincere in our work. We should never show our power on weak. We should use the resources well, like how Zulkarnain used all the iron and copper to build a strong wall for the protection of people. How do we overcome the trial of power? By being humble and using our power to help people, not to torture them. This is it for today. We shall meet in another session with another surah soon, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.